Alright guys, Simon here. We are in Minecraft and we are gonna work on the skyscraper. Seriously. For reals. So, remember quite a while ago now, over maybe like 2 months ago, I was talking about ideas for levels in the skyscraper. If you don't remember, there's gonna be a village. I've got 2 villages somewhere at the back, and we're gonna populate the whole skyscraper with villagers. And so it's going to be like a giant vertical village. And I was asking for ideas for things to build in each level. And it was interesting, like some people said some interesting things, but overall, looking at the responses, like people didn't, like, it didn't seem like people were thinking spatially, and it didn't seem like people really understood urban design. Which is not surprising. I mean, you're just, people playing Minecraft and watching my videos. It's not like you've been trained in architecture. But what do I mean by thinking spatially? Like, people would say, well, say someone suggests, build a blacksmith. Okay, blacksmith, cool. But they would never say where to build the blacksmith. Which, if you think about it, I mean, architecture is all about space. Like, if you say, we have a skyscraper this big, we can put a blacksmith anywhere. Like, where would you put it? Anyway, so here's my plan, and this is from the bottom to the top. So at the bottom we're going to have a lobby and a hotel, and then on the floor above that we have shops, above that the town square, and which will include a town hall, probably like police and clinic and things like that, so public services. And then above that is the Garden of Mists, which is the cloud level there, so you can imagine the clouds rolling in will be like a mist going into this place. There'll be a garden, and we'll be using the clouds to hopefully have some interesting effects. We can be above the clouds, or we can be inside the clouds, and they'll look different depending on whether the clouds are moving through or not. So that's going to be interesting. There'll be a garden. Above there's going to be farms. We're going to have a level of farms, which is wheat and melons, maybe a few animals. Above that will be schools. Above that will be apartments, and then houses, and then a palace. And then at the very top, it'll be the Garden of Stars. It'll be right on the roof, will be open to the sky and all that. So, why do I arrange things like this? And again, looking at the comments that people have responded to, my question of what to build and where to build things. People don't consider where to build things, and why I'm putting that at the bottom and these at the top. I mean, it's the issue about privacy. Imagine who's allowed to be in the lobby? Well, everyone's allowed to be in the lobby. On the other hand, who's allowed to be in houses? Well, if it's your house, you're allowed to be in your house. You might invite people into your house, but you don't have random strangers walking into your house. But you do have random strangers going into lobbies, maybe going to shops. So the idea is, the closer to the ground it is, the closer you are to random strangers walking by your building. And so the stuff down the bottom is more public, and then the further up you go, the more private it gets. So you can see the town square, the shops, the hotel, these are near the bottom because they're open to visitors. Whereas schools, apartments, houses, these are not open to visitors, so they're further up the top. And of course the palace is near the top, near the penthouse area, and then the gardens are in specific situations because of the open top, and then also the clouds in the middle. So that's the idea, and that sort of thing you would consider in any sort of urban design. Like, where would you build houses? Where would you build factories? Things like that. And the factories here, I guess the workshops will be with the shops level. So the blacksmith, as I said earlier, blacksmiths will be there. So if you imagine your villagers living here, but if I come to visit and I want to buy something, I walk up to the shops. It's close to the ground, so it's easy to get to. You also don't go past people's houses to get to the shops, so you keep the strangers away from your houses. So that's the idea of where you put things in a city, if you were designing a city or a town or something like that. So at the bottom we said we have hotel and lobby, and you can see I've put some dirt in and lined things out here. So I did the staircase first, so this is the main staircase going up to the next level. It'll be back here. Up there will be the hotel, So 2 stories of hotels. That I guess will be the hotel reception. It'll be mirrored, so it'll be symmetrical. The same on the other side. If you imagine this mirrored onto the other side, that's the same thing. Up there we're gonna have like a restaurant. And then down here will be, well, this is the main lobby area. I'm thinking statues here, although it's not very big, so I don't know if I can fit very fancy statues in here. Statues, like a fountain here, and a fountain there, and then I guess some waiting areas here, I don't know, some miscellaneous things. Probably some service rooms back here, storage areas, and then obviously the circulation is behind all of that. So hotel rooms, hotel lobby, service areas, waiting areas, lobbies, fountains, more lobby areas on the other side, and then restaurant. That's the idea. And if you imagine like this will be solid, like the hotel rooms, obviously you won't be able to see through them, but down here will be just kind of waiting areas and sitting areas, so this will be open. I don't know if you can visualize this. Again, like if you're trained in architecture or you're trained in design, you can visualize spaces. But sometimes, like, I remember back when I was teaching a little bit of design in architecture school, like, I would talk to the students and some of them wouldn't be able to visualize. You know, like, let's say, imagine that this is solid and this is open. Like, some people have trouble visualizing that, and I don't know if you're able to do this. Maybe when I finish building this, I'll come back and look at it again and you can compare, your imagination and what I actually end up building. I mean, if you play Minecraft and you take design seriously, or if you actually study architecture or some other sort of spatial design discipline, then it's good to be able to do that, to be able to just look at something and imagine what you're going to put there. And the more accurately you can imagine things, obviously it's going to be more useful for you as a designer, because you don't have to draw as much, you don't have to model as much, and your concepts and your final outcomes are more accurate. So you have staircase going up to the restaurants, and you have staircase going up to the hotel rooms. The next thing I'm going to work on is the statues here, because they're going to have to take up a bit of space. I'm kind of hoping to have statues of people, maybe holding up the next floor, and then also flowing water out into the fountains. But Minecraft being giant blocks, I don't actually think there's enough space here to have people. It's going to be very blocky people, and then you don't look like people. Maybe something plants. I think it'll end up being like abstract shapes, probably. It won't end up looking like anything you can recognize, just because it's all very blocky. But I'm thinking there'll be 2 ponds there and there, so there'll be 6 statues along the columns. Basically, I'm going to turn the columns into statues. And again, if we come back here, so we are outside, and if you visualize, if you try to visualize, so the restaurant will be there, so it's going to be a bit lower. So you can see it's divided into thirds, so there's 3 kind of major stories here. So the restaurant will be in the upper third, the hotel rooms along the sides will be 2/3 all the way down, so the bottom third will be open on the sides. The bottom 2/3 will be open at the front, and then as you walk through, the central area, including the front part of the stairs, will open up all 3/3, so the whole space will be open. So if you imagine walking through, then you have open space, and then a slightly lower space, and then a slightly higher space, and then the really low space at the sides. So that's the spatial arrangement to, I guess forms like a gateway going into the middle of the building, and then that continues onto the side, so it's like low, slightly higher, and then lower again. So the general shape is like a gateway, and then it opens up into a more open area in the middle. So open, close, and open. So that's a sequence of spaces. Again, like if you have trouble visualizing this, then I guess just wait for the next, or wait until the construction is finished. Then you'll see what I mean. Alright, so I'm gonna try to figure out the statues. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna record it, I don't think, just because this might take a while. Oh, and I put in the stairs first. I said it earlier. Like, why stairs first? Well, because stairs are awkward. I look at them; they take up a lot of space. Just consider how much space this thing is taking up, and they're diagonal, so you're gonna. Stairs are usually the kind of things that if you do it last, then you can't do it right because you run out of space. So you usually have to do it first because it's the most awkward thing. And once you have the stairs in place, then it's easy to put the other things in place. You know, like if you have things you want to fit into a shape, you want to put the most difficult things in first, so then it's easier at the end. So that's the idea. And I did change the stairs. Like it used to stick out a bit more, and then I decided I can push it back a little bit and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, that's not too important, but if you're a designer, you might want to keep that in mind. Like if you have stairs, do that first. Just makes things easier for you. Alright, let me try to make some statues, probably out of dirt. Oh, I need more dirt. Probably out of dirt, and then when I have something I like, I'll come back and show you guys. I mean, I'll probably end up just trying to build a person, and then actually no, I'll show you after my first attempt, and then we'll do the refinement together on the video, and we'll see what it looks like. Alright, so that was pretty much the first attempt, and it looks pretty good just like that. Well, I mean, it wasn't the first attempt. I mean, I built it and then I adjusted a few blocks, especially the head. It's kind of difficult to get the head right, since it's all square, right? So it should be pretty clear that it's like an angel pouring water into this pond. You know, he has a wing behind, or the wings behind him, and then he's like bending over a little bit. So that's the statue, and it occupies a corner, so it's quite easy to just, you know, copy it onto the other corners. Yeah, I don't have too much else to say. I mean, that's pretty much it. Obviously, it's not going to be dirt. I was thinking what materials I should use. Maybe wool, red and white, yellow and white. Maybe even gold blocks. I'd have to be really careful with gold blocks if I use that. Like where to use it, because obviously I don't want to use too many gold blocks, but maybe just like gold for the head only. Maybe glowstone at some point to provide the lighting, because obviously we need some light to keep the monsters from spawning on the statue itself. You can see there's some torches there. Maybe replace some of that with glowstone. Do I hear a zombie? Probably not. Yeah, so let me think about materials. Do you need an iron pick to harvest the gold block? I think you do. Gold blocks. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 times 8. 100 and something. 100 and something. So it'll be like 2 stacks. A little less than 2 stacks of gold blocks. I don't think I have that many. Okay, never mind. We're not using gold. I guess we're using wool, white, and you can see some, I guess, white and yellow. Let me try it out. I'll rebuild this thing. I want to adjust the shape of it a little too. Maybe make him a little bit taller, just so the wings touch. the bottom of the beam there. I think I'll do that by making him just a little bit taller at the bottom. So, you know, raise him one block further up. So let me try building that on the other side or something, and then see how that looks. Oh, actually, before I do that, I should walk up. Obviously, we don't just see him from the ground, faced on. I mean, we see him back here as well, and you don't see him there, but you see the one opposite. Obviously, there'll be 8 of them around here, so you see the ones opposite. But from behind, from underneath, you can see that, and then let's just go up a few levels to see what he looks like. Because, you know, when you're walking down the corridor here, you'll probably see him as well. So from here, he looks like that, which is good. I did check these views earlier as well, just to make sure that they look good here. Like sometimes it would look good from one angle, but then you look at it from a different angle and it looks a bit odd. So you're gonna have to check it. So before I had shoulders a bit wider than that, and the neck a bit wider, and it looks okay from the ground. But when you get up here, it looks a bit, well, thick. When there's more blocks, you know, in those places. So let's go up here. And from here, he looks like that, so you can see the head and him holding that, the water. So it looks good from all angles, pretty much. And again, I had to double check that earlier, like before the shoulders were a bit wider and he looked a bit strange. Anyway, I've got him the way I want him now.